सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्ट्वागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितन्यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So we have now completed half of Mandukya Upanishad, consisting of 12 mantras, and we have now completed the first 6 mantras. The first 6 mantras are sadhana rupa, means to an end. And now on the 7th verse, we will launch into Siddha Rupa. So here, interestingly, it is not Sadhya Rupa, but Siddha Rupa. So what that means is that normally we use sadhana to approach sadhya, something that I don't have and something that I want to get, and there is a means of getting it, and I finally get there and I obtain it. So this is the normal way sadhana, sadhya works in our life. Here, however, we have a very peculiar situation because the vastu that I'm seeking is not a sadhya vastu but a siddha vastu. Siddha vastu means it's already there. Praptasya prapti. I am the very person that I'm seeking. It's a very funny seeking. And so we'll talk more about that. But anyway, be that as it may, the first 6 verses are sadhana rupa. So this is what we did. And before we launch into the Siddha Vastu, which is mantra number 7 in the Mandukya Upanishad, Gaudapadacharya ji initiates the Karika. And as we will now see, he writes Karika not as a repetition of what has already been done by the Shastra in the words of Mandukya Upanishad. Repetition is pretty much avoided. But what he does do in the Karika, which we will now study, is to give certain insights into the sadhana. Some commentary on the sadhana, some ways of understanding the sadhana. So this is the meaning of the Karika. And that really applies to all the 200 plus verses of the Karika. The first Prakaranam, which we are now doing, which is called Agama Prakaranam, is actually closely following the Mandukya Upanishad mantras. Even though it is giving an insight into it, but he doesn't vary from it. He closely follows the words of the Mandukya Upanishad. Then in the later Prakaranas, he develops a much more elaborate commentary, not sticking strictly to the Mandukya Upanishad. So we will see that later, but for now, let us begin the study of the first prakarana, first Karika, so 1-1. And so let us do that. So now the first Karika reads as follows: Bahishpragyo Vibhuhu Vishwaha Hi Antar Pragyastu Taijasaha Ghanaf Pragyastatha Pragyaha Eka Eva Tridha Smritaha. One more time. Bahishpragyo Vibhur Vishwaha Hya Antah Pragyastu Taijasaha Ghanaf Pragyastatha Pragyaha Ekah Eva Tridha Smritaha. So let's look at the meaning of the words. Vishwaha, the same Vishwa that we know, which is Jagrat Avastha Abhimani, the one that is identified with the Jagrat Avastha. You and I, as we are listening and talking, we are Vishwas. Vishwa Bahishpragya. Bahishpragya means that the primary conscious vyavahara, conscious transactions is outside. We'll clarify it even more, but I think it's nothing peculiar. It is outside. As opposed to, as you know, next one he says, well, I'll go into the word vibhu later. Taijasaha hi pragyaha antah pragyaha. The Taijas pragya means the very transactional use of Taijasa is internal in terms of ideas, thoughts, impressions, etc. So that is Taijasa, which of course is entirely there in the Swapnavastha, but not totally only in the Swapnavastha, even in the Jagratavastha. Whenever you are thinking without regards to the body and so on, that could also be Taijasa. So Taijasa and Vishwa are both active in the Jagratavastha. The word Vibhu needs some commentary, so I'll defer that for just a second. Let me complete all the rest of the words. Bahishpragyaha Vishwaha Antah Pragyastu Taijasaha Ghanav Pragyastatha Pragyaha. So Ghanav Pragyaha means the one which is just a mass of consciousness. There is no pratyaya, there are no thoughts. It is just, it's nothing but consciousness alone without any changes. It's called pragya in deep sleep state, as we have seen. Ghanav pragyas tatha pragya. So he says these are all three different manifestations. One is Vishwa. He's revising it. We've already gone through that. He's just reminding us, in order to draw certain conclusions, that this is what we have studied. We have studied Vishwa, we have studied Taijasa, and we have studied Pragya, that are distinct from each other. And they are really only one. they are considered to be one only, not three. We'll see some examples of that in a minute, but this is just the word meaning. And so here Swami Paramarthananda says the same one is thought of in a threefold way. Good. So the same thing, ekaha eva tridha smritaha. It's known in three different ways. So we'll go into that in a minute. Now let's go to the word vibhu, which is an important word that Gaudapadacharya ji has introduced for the first time. The word vibhu. Vibhu means all-pervading, pervasive, not in any one area, but the whole thing, like akasha, like space. So space is a great example of vibhu. All over. There's nothing that you can find where the akasha is not there. So vibhu. So now he introduces that word vibhu with a very specific reason. So now let us look at what the reason is, and with the help of the commentary of Swami Akhandananda, we will see what vibhu means. So now we see that the word vibhu is there for all of them. Vishwaha, Taijasaha, Pragyaha, and Turiyaha, as we will see later, the fourth one, are all vibhu. So it's not as though only out of these, one thing is very obvious. Well, not that obvious, but something that is close to being obvious is Pragyaha is vibhu. Pragya is vibhu means that there you can say that really speaking, the sleep of one person is exactly the same as the sleep of another person. This is our experience, this is our understanding, and this is true. As Jagrat Abhimani, you and I may be different. As Swapna Abhimani, you and I may be different. They are different. We are different. Even though one is Pratibhasika Sat, one is Vyavaharika Sat. But in the case of Pragyaha, there is no distinction between person and person. So there the vibhu is very relatively obvious. Okay? Anyway, we'll come to that in a minute. Let's proceed systematically. The first one he takes up is Vishwaha is vibhu. Vishwaha is vibhu. How is Vishwa the vibhu? So here he points out that in reality Vishwa is nothing but Vaishwanara. Vishwa is Virat. And we've already seen some arguments when we went through the mantra number 1, how that is the case. There it was talked about Prathama Pada. Prathama Pada means the first step. First step for what? Is to see that Vishwa is essentially nothing but Virat. And now this is being explained by Gaudapadacharya ji, how this is the case. So let's look into that. So here the commentary is that as Vishwa, we are identified with a body-mind complex only. This is me, is my conclusion. This is me. and nobody has to tell me anything about it. Nobody has to talk to teach me. It's not the parents say, baby, do you know you are the body mind complex? You are the body. This is you. The baby will say, what are you telling me that I don't already know? Tell me something, there's something new. So we all know that we are the body. Nevertheless, this is a huge mistake. This is the starting point of our quest for freedom. Freedom from what? Freedom from all dependence on problems that trouble me. So my life is full of problems. This is called dukkha. So dukkha means, so ka means a, a conclusion. Dukkha means a very sad conclusion. This all is not well with me. I am not feeling well. I've got fever. My body is aching. I'm getting old. My hair are falling. All these kinds of things are dukkha. And we get some sukha also here and there. Okay, when we eat, etc., we get some sukha. So we get some sukha, mostly dukkha. Sukhi, 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 dukhi, 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 sukhi, sukhi, dukhi, dukhi. That's what the end used to say. The case of a drowning man, drowning person. So, all that stems from my identification with the body. Dukkha stems from, it is caused by my abhimana towards the body. And the abhimana for the body is also the launching pad of my relationships. So if I have a wife, it is with respect to myself as a body. If I have children, it is with respect to the launching pad of my body as a father. So everything is based on this abhimana, I am this body. And others' estimation of me also based on the body. It's based on the body. Too. I was telling you this, that when my father passed away in the 90s, this is now about close to 30 years back, and I had gone for his, I couldn't make it for his Anteshti, but I reached there a few days later, and we had a celebration of life, and I had a chance to meet many people that I had not seen for another 25, 30 years. This is the first time, I remember so well. We were all sitting there. So one of my sister was there too, of course, 3 years older than me. And she had a lot of friends. So we all kind of grew up together and so on. I was sitting there, and this woman came up to me, and she asked my sister, "Is this Vijay?" So she said, "Yes." He came up to me and he says in Hindi, "Aapko kya ho gaya hai?" Means, what has happened to you? So I said, "I beg your pardon." She says, "I cannot believe this. What has really happened to you?" I still didn't quite get it what she means. What has happened to you? Then I realized she was looking at my baldness, because when I used to see her, I was like 14 years old, and I had a shock full of hair, and now all that hair was gone, and she could not recognize me, and she says, "What has happened to you?" We Indians actually have this is what is called bhakkarta. Bhakkarta means we are this is not sophisticated. We just whatever we see, we just express it without understanding. Here in the West, if people will say, "You are looking very distinguished," inside that what means is you are getting old. But in India, people will say, "Aapko kya ho gaya hai?" So this expression, "what has happened to you," means it is with respect to my body. So others' estimation of me, she doesn't say, she didn't understand if I have accomplished something in the last 25, 30 years. All of that she didn't refer to. But it was the body that caught her attention. And so this is the situation. All we are saying is that the entire set of experiences is based on the fulcrum that I am the body. Totally involved with that. I am the body. And I accept it and I don't like it mostly. Once in a while you may say, I'm okay, I'm good looking, but most of the time I'm getting old, I've got lost this, I've got this, so I don't like it. And furthermore, all the effects of the body with all the problems and this, that, or the other, it's talking of that, it's interesting. My set of respiratory problems has been going on for so long. It's 3 months old now. I think it was the beginning February, March, and you've seen all of that. So about 2 weeks ago, finally my doctor had recommended you go to see an ENT specialist, Dr. Moyer. So she looked at me and he said, I think you have some things. Let's take a CT scan of your sinuses. I said, fine, because now the antibiotics are also over and some things have not been working. So CT scan was taken 3 days ago. An hour before the class, maybe 2 hours before 5 o'clock, 3 hours, I got a call from Dr. Moyer and said, I have to tell you that the CT scan is now clear. You don't have any infection and therefore you don't need any antibiotic. You are pretty much on your own. So I am now supposed to be cured. I don't feel cured, but I am. There's nothing else they can do. Problems, problems, problems. All body problems. Okay. Now comes a very interesting and a very important point. Okay. So the question is, if we analyze, take an example, take dukkha. Dukkha means problems. Dukkha means problem. So the question is, where does dukkha reside? This is being asked about by Swami Akhandanandaji as his commentary on this Karika. Let's analyze. And this will be taken up again and again. It's not the only time. But it's a very important element of our analysis, which is we have to think about, we accept it for, I'm not happy. And so on. Now the question is, this feeling of I am not happy, where exactly is it? Is it in the body? Or is it in the Atma? Clearly, it is not in the body. Why not? Because if it is in the body, it would always be there as long as the body is there. But that doesn't happen. During Swapnavastha, during my dream, this dukkha of the body disappears or changes. May disappear, may change. But in deep sleep, it completely disappears. So it is very clear that it is not in the body. Is it in the Atma? In my conscious, my jnanam? No. Because both the Shastra says, asango hiyam. Drik and drishya, drik is not affected by drishya. What is seen does not affect the seer. So clearly speaking, Atma, both from a logical standpoint as well as from an authority of the Shastra, as well as my experience, is not in the Atma. So then where is it? This is an important thing for us to be introduced to, get used to, in order to eliminate dukkha. This is what we have to do. Dukkha is in the identification in the mind that this is me. This is me thought. And this is my body thought. Me and mine, it is there. That's where it is. So we have to localize it. First of all, we didn't know where it was. Now we have to eliminate where it is not. And so then the only thing that is left is it is in fact in the mind, appearing as me and mine. And if this was not clear, what should be clear is that dukkha is not in the object and it is not in the Atma, but it is in the thought, this is me and mine. How? Every day we hear of accidents, people getting killed due to accident. Every day, no matter where you live. Every day, unfortunately, we hear of murders. And other than just a little ripple of curiosity, macabre curiosity, really speaking, that should not even be a curiosity. It has no effect on me. No effect on me. Oh, somebody got killed? Oh, too bad. It's very sorry. If it's more than a couple of people, then it catches my attention more. 10 people got killed. 40, 50. My goodness, amazing. Still, couple of minutes, 5 minutes, it's gone. If, on the other hand, imagine one of the people you find out from the newspaper is somebody who is in your family, dukkha starts. Dukkha starts. Heavy dukkha. What is the difference between it is me and mine? That it is. This is an important launching pad for us to gain freedom from this teaching. So this is only with respect to the body at the moment. But we should understand that the body is not, it may be a nimitta karanam, it may be a source of problem, but as long as I don't see it as me and mine, it is not dukkha. The question is, how is it possible for me to not look at the body? Okay, the body I think comes at the very end, but as a principle, we should see that the source of dukkha is me and mine, as we saw from the examples. Okay, and it is a very well-known thing that the dukkha of me and mine also is limited. Is limited. There are all sorts of examples, and we can even see from our experience that if a loved one dies, especially if it is a spouse or a child or something, it has a very deep effect on one, but not everlasting. It also fades away. Also fades away. And at the most, it has, whenever you remember someone, you have a picture in front of you, it might give you some little bit of dukkha, semblance of a dukkha. But other than the immediate effect and so on, it's gone. So really speaking, it does not affect the Atma, it does not affect the person, it is all the me and mind that affects it. So therefore now, Vibhu, we haven't talked about the Vibhu, but in a way this is what it is, that my problems as a Vishwa is because of my identification with a Vyashti Sharira. In fact, I should be identified with the whole thing, with the entire cosmos, because the cosmos also works in the same samashti. The samashti also works in the same principles as Vyashti. How? Because in Vyashti you have Akasha. The elements of a Vyashti are Akasha, same. You have air, all there on the Samashti, and you just simply take what you need and absorb it as a prana and then say, this is mine. But really speaking, there is prana all over. That's interesting. In one of the I forget the Upanishad, where it says, I think you may have seen it, I don't remember exactly, that the one thing which is not corruptible is the prana. Eyes are corruptible, we like to see good things only. Ears are corruptible because we want to hear good things only. Corruptible in the sense biased. But prana is totally independent. In fact, it is mentioned that in the old days, even in current India, there are people who are so orthodox in their thinking that they don't even want to touch a person who is not in the first three castes. They want to touch it. They'll become impure. This happens. Less and less, but it is still there. Certainly you don't want to be associated. This happens even in the Western world, where you don't want to live next to a minority. You want to live it with your own people. You don't want to have minorities even close to you. And so all of that biases are possible, except for prana. So it's interesting, if you have a dog or a cat in the room, that dog and cat, let alone a minority person, let alone a person that you don't want to be close to, are all using the same prana, same air. And so identify with that. Identify means think about it. That really there is commonality that I am suppressing in my thinking by just clinging to a single body. And that creates a lot of problems for me, will continue to create a lot of problems for me. So if you want to really get away from it, then become a little bit more vibhu. And so the principles of samashti are the same. You have eyes, the ability for the sun to make you see. Vayu is common. Dehas are all part of the Prithvi. The smells are already there. So if you just sit down and say that I, the Atma, I am aware of the entire cosmos. Isn't it? That's the truth. You're not just aware of your own body only. Your body is also a part of the cosmos. It is all in the thoughts. This is the vibhutvam of the Vishwa. So, by using the word vibhuhu, Gaudapadacharya ji tells that is what you need to do. That is the sadhana. Why? Because the vibhu is not either difficult or easy, it is already there. But you don't accept it because of the obstinance that this is just myself, this is only me. So that's the meaning of the word vibhuhu, associated with Vishwa. Now let's go to the next one, which is Tejasa. Same thing. Same vibhuhu. My thoughts, my opinions. This is what I think should be done. Okay. This is a wide open world. There are others that are also. We have to look at the whole viewpoint of others. If I just cling on to my thoughts, my opinions, my conclusions, and so on, you can do it if you want to. But you're creating an unnecessary problem for yourself. Those schools of thought are wrong. Ours is correct. Interestingly enough, really speaking, this will happen more and more. You better get used to this. Please get used to this, as we will see this a little bit more. In reality, what you see in the world is really nothing but yourself. Which is a necessary conclusion of vibhutvam. And this looks like this looks like hard to believe. and outright, outright wrong when we first start to think about it. But in the views of Jivan Muktas, Mahatmas, who have understood, as we will study this slowly ourselves, there is nothing outside of you. In fact, when people talk, when people are saying something, when people are behaving in a certain way, it is your own self which is reflected in the sense of otherness. You, as we will see, you are the one that blesses it, and it is really yourself not understanding that it is just you. Exactly like in a dream. In a dream, there are versions of you, and in dreams, there are versions of other than you. People that you are fighting with, people that you are agreeing with, people that you are afraid of, people that you have some relationships, people that you wish you did not have any relationship with, all kinds of other people. And in the eyes of the Purushaha with Mukti, who recently understood the presence of the very, not the presence, but the understanding of the Atma, as we will also see this slowly. In the eyes of such Mahatmas, there is nothing outside of them. And if there is outside, it is just a make-believe. Outside is also nothing but your own self reflected in the mirror of the mind. So therefore, the vibhutvam of Taijasa is a step in the direction of understanding the totality of yourself as being the whole world as being nothing but you alone. It is the same direction, helpful direction. And the starting point is not to take firm steps to say this is not me, those people are wrong. Transactionally, you have to survive and do the best you can. It's not the point. Somebody is trying to come and rob you. You don't say, okay, that's okay. You are just me. Come on, rob me. We're not talking about nonsense like that. From a transactional standpoint, you just have to lead a proper life which is subject to your own safety, your happiness, all of that. But we're talking about unnecessary. This is what is called kamya karma. So kamya karma means that you just like to do that. We just like to fight with people. And so, from the standpoint of Taijasa also, it is the approach to Hiranyagarbha is also Vibhuhu, approach towards Vibhuhu. So the Vibhuhu applies to Taijasa also. Then finally to Pragyaha. And Pragyaha is now easiest to grasp. The Vibhutvam of Prag, as we had already mentioned in the beginning of the class. Now I can revise it in the sense of this sequence. The Pragyaha is Vibhuhu is relatively obvious. How? Because any Ananda any relaxation, any sleep, any samadhi is the same for everybody. There may be some minor differences in samadhi, but certainly not in sleep, certainly not in ananda, in happiness. That's all pragya. Ghanibhuta, as we will see later on. Ghanibhuta means it's just undifferentiated. I am happy. That is common to everybody. You can, if you're married, I'm sure that you wake up in the morning and check with your spouse, how did you sleep? And most of the time is, I slept well. You may have had some sleeplessness for a while or some bad dreams or something like that, but sleep is sleep. So when somebody says, I slept well, you don't have to ask somebody, what do you mean by sleeping well? Because that person slept well just like you slept well. Same experience. So the vibhutvam of pragya is easiest to grasp. The other takes more time, more work actually, not time, but more work. This one is like that. All right. So far now we've understood that. So now we have to understand the last point of the Karika, that all three are really one and the same that appear differently. So here Swami Akhandananda has given this very simple example, that suppose you have a person who's wearing like this is a kurta, who's wearing a red kurta. So if I'm wearing this kurta of the color of the flame, or a brahmachari, what is called gerua color in Hindi. And then tomorrow, if I'm wearing a kurta which is a white kurta, and another day I wear a grey kurta with some check marks and so on. I have those. I do wear them. This is why I'm giving the example. So my appearances are totally different for you. One time, this is like what I wear as a flame-colored one just for teaching. And other ones I used if there is some get-together or something. I don't wear this when I have a social get-together. I wear a different kind of a kurta. So my appearances are all different. But one interesting thing is, I am both different from my appearances and also one and the same. This is really interesting. I am both different and the same. I am different because I appear differently. You know, when once we just had a friend who's invited us for his 80th birthday. So whenever that happens, a major occasion and so on and so forth, you dress up a little bit more formally as a mark of respect for an important, and you can even wear a tie and jacket and certainly a jacket. Um, and so if you take a picture of me there, I would look totally different. If I'm working out, I look completely different. I wear some kind of a baseball hat, shorts, and I do during the day. I look very different. My wife makes fun of me. She says, "There he goes again, changes clothes 3 or 4 times a day." I said, "What am I supposed to do? I wear pajamas at night time. I wear this kurta for teaching. I use something else for working out. And if there is a big party with some major event like some birthday of some person, then I'm dressing up. And it doesn't matter to me because I'm different from all of them. And yet I'm the same person. I may appear differently. So this is what is meant here by ekaha eva smritaha. Right? What does it say? Sorry. Bahishpragya vibhuhu vishva antahpragyastu taijasah घनः प्रज्ञस्तथा प्राज्ञः एकः एव त्रिधा स्मृतः. Tridha smritah means it is considered to be smritah. Yeah, Swami of Paramathananda is thought of. Smritah means it is considered to be different even though it is the same. And so that's the turiya that we are driving to, and we will go into this much more detail later on. Okay? Now, let's change gears a little bit. How right now our tour, our analysis, our subject was a jiva. Right? Vishwa refers to a jiva. Taijasa, pragya, turiya, smritis, tridha smrita, all pertaining to jiva. Now let us try to find Paramatma. If you want to call it Ishvara, God, go ahead and call Ishvara God. Paramatma, Brahman, Paramatma. Brahman also is a new word and it grows on you very slowly. It looks kind of like, but Paramatma you can relate to not just one person's Atma, but the entire Atma, Paramatma. Let us try to find Paramatma. Where is Paramatma? What is Paramatma? Let us investigate. Because really speaking, this is exactly what our quest of life is. That we want to find the ultimate person who created me. And I'm told is takes care of me. One who is most friendly to me. Not even my mother and father are as friendly. Friendly in the sense of protecting. Paramatma. Om. Where is that Om? In what form do I recognize it? How do I find that Paramatma? Okay, so let us start to investigate. So this is what is called Shivalingam. Lingyate anena iti lingam. Yayate anena. By this it is found. By this it is known. In what in what is the method of knowing? How do I find that person? You remember I was telling you this very beautiful example given by Swami Maheshananji one time. A real life example of lingam, lingyate. So it appears that in a village, one of the people who had a very valuable asset, which is a cow. A cow in a village is a very, very valuable asset because it gives you a lot of things. If you just take care of the cow, this is so beautiful. Most loving animal, most gracious animal that you can think of. More than anything else is a cow. So he had that cow. And every morning he would wake up and take care of the cow, feed it, and so on. He wakes up and the cow is gone. He says, oh my God, has it wandered? Did I forget to tie it last night? And he can't find it. He now panics. His life is turned upside down. So he rushes over to this kind of like a village policeman and said, sir, my cow has been stolen, looks like it. So this person says, okay, let's go to your house and see what happens. So he started thinking and seeing and so on, whereas this owner of the cow was just sitting there very worried, chewing his nails and saying, what's going on? The policeman said, I think we can find it. So he says, why? What makes you think? He says, you are very lucky. It rained last night. And so the hoof marks are very clear in the mud. So still he was not convinced that he would really find it. So the policeman said, follow me. Okay. Fortunately, because most of the streets in the village are not paved with cement or anything, mostly muddy. Followed it. There was the cow. This is called lingam. Shivalingam. So Paramatma lingam. What is the lingam for a Paramatma? How do I find Paramatma? So he says, listen. Paramatma is one who is with you in the Jagrat Avastha, who is with you in the Swapna Avastha, who is with you in the Sushupti Avastha, who is with you when you are young, who is with you when you are getting old, who is with you when you were sick, who is with you when you were happy, who is with you when you were unhappy. In fact, it is there regardless of where, when, or what you are. That is the Paramatma. Find it. Look for it. one doesn't need to be Vibhu, who is Vibhu. And where will you find it? Will you find it when you are talking about something exclusive which is not there at some other place, like the Jagrat Avastha is mutually exclusive to the Swapnavastha. And the Swapnavastha is mutually exclusive to the Sushupti Avastha. So it's not there. This is the lingam. You have to find something which is Satsvarupam, which is always there, regardless of time, regardless of space, regardless of any vastu, regardless of any situation. That is the Paramatma. Can that be any different than you? That is your Atma. There is only one Atma. So to say that this is Jiva Atma is you're just putting some epithets into it. It's the one Atma. That is the Paramatma. And it is not recognized to be Paramatma because you're looking at specific things, not the common to all the things. Here Swami Khandananda says, one which is in Rajas, in Tamas, in Sattva, which is in Brahma, which is in Vishnu, which is in Maheshwara, which was there in Rama. Same Krishna, Atma of the Krishna is the same as your Atma today. He doesn't have any special Atma. It's the same Atma. And to find that Paramatma, you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go on a pilgrimage, do you? If there is a Paramatma only in a pilgrimage, in the Char Dham, but not here, can that be a real Paramatma? Can that be Vibhu? You're violating Vibhu right there. Is that necessary to do Samadhi? Only Paramatma is visible in Samadhi, but not outside of Samadhi. That can be Paramatma. So the only thing that is this true lingam for Paramatma is true Vibhutvam. And so, if you are a intelligent village policeman, you will identify steps that are unique to that thing. And the unique steps of the Paramatma is the presence regardless of where you and what you are, where you are. That is the lingam for Paramatma. You don't have to attain anything special. You don't have to do puja. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to reform yourself. You have to do vichara to see the presence of Paramatma. In the Kenopanishad we did this, where Shankara had given this very beautiful analysis. We'll do that again. I think it is a very beautiful one. Pratibodha viditam matam. I think chapter 3, verse number 4. Pratibodha viditam matam. Amritatvam hi vindate. Atmana vindate viryam. Pratibodha viditam matam. Bodham prati viditam. In whatever pratyaya there is, whatever form there is, it is there. Look for that. Find that out. As we will see this in much more detail during the Karika. The one which is both the adhishthana of all the pratyaya, as well as the prakashakaha of the pratyaya, as the satsvarupaha of all the pratyaya, and as the chit swarupa all the pratyaya. That is the chit, sat chit ananda. That is the Paramatma, which is not other than you. That is the aparoksha vastu. Sakshat aparokshat vastu, which is Atma, which is Paramatma. So the same analysis that applies to Jiva also applies to Paramatma. So this is the beauty of this prakriya, ekajivavada, that it's not as though you spend a lot of time simply analyzing the jiva, not touching Paramatma yet. And then this is called Tvampadavachya. And then later on you go to Tatpadavachya. And finally you have the Asipadavachya where you combine them all. This is the Aneka Jivavada. But in the Eka Jivavada, you look at the similarity between Jiva and Ishvara from get-go. You may not be able to yet understand fully, but it is much easier for us to see the lingam if the lingams are the same for both Jivatma and Paramatma. So with that I will anyway, some more commentary on this that we will defer to for next time. So with that, let me close the class today. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Good. See you all. Wonderful. And many of you that are tuned in, but I don't see in the on the chat window. So welcome to all of you, and all the best to you. And we hopefully will see you next.